this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So we're here for another one of our mass making sessions. So we are up to week number 237. So we're doing reruns. We did the first 100 weeks. We did the second 100 weeks. And now we're doing the third lot of 100 weeks. And what are we making today? We are making fabric button embellishments. So it's another fabric item that we're making today. So what will you need if you want to craft along? So you're going to need some fabric. Now, I kind of recommend something sturdier, either some Hessian or burlap, depending on what you call it where you are. Maybe some sort of upholstery fabric that's like stiffer, preferably a plainish fabric for your bottom layer. So bottom layer fabric, then some other fabric to put on top of your bottom layer. Then some lace to put on top of your two layers, and then some buttons. So you are going to need bottom fabric, another layer of fabric, some lace, some buttons. You're going to need some thread with, needle and thread, and some scissors. Now, that's all the materials that you're going to need. So I'm going to demonstrate one or two, and then, we can just relax and bulk make a load of these. So I'm going to just take, this is, like an upholstery type fabric. Now I have to say my preference for making these is a Hessian. So I've got this, which is kind of an offcut of some lovely patterned Hessian that I got. I think it was gifted to me by the lovely Laurie in a happy mail. This is just a small offcut from it, and I'm going to use it up this way so that I don't have the patterned side going on. But for the first one, I'll just use this just to kind of demonstrate. So I'm going to just cut this down like that. And obviously these do not need to be straight. They don't need to be, particular sizes or anything like that. Just make a bunch in all different variety of shapes and sizes. So that's my bottom layers. Then I'm going to take, this is another one of my fabric scrap packs. I used one last week for our video last week, and I'm just going to use another one here. So I'll just go through and see what I've got that's going to look pretty on this brown kind of fabric. So, what one do I think? I mean, to be honest, yeah, I could probably do a couple of different types. So let's just take some of this. So I'm just going to tear this down like that. I quite like tearing them because then you get those frayed edges, and then just, kind of tear to get my smaller pieces of fabric there. Okay, I might have actually done that too small, but we'll see. And then I'm going to take some lace to put on the very top. So again, got a variety of different laces here. I'm just going to take this one, whoops, which is a crochet lace. I'll just take it like that. Okay, so then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to layer up. So I'm going to take this, going to layer it with like a little bit of fabric on the top, and then a little bit of lace on the top of that, and then pick a couple of buttons. So maybe a brown button to kind of pick up the brown from the bottom. So like that, and then what other one have I got? That one, yeah, maybe those two. So I did, again, just like last week, actually thread my needle and thread so that you're not going to have to sit and watch me trying to find the needle, which is not great, let's be honest. So literally you're going to just stitch your buttons on. Now I have to say, when I've done these in the past, I have had a couple of people say, oh, why don't you just glue the buttons on? And of course you could do that. I mean, personally, I like the look of the actual stitching on these. Now, I'm no seamstress or anything like that, and normally I would definitely go for, easiest option. I think with these, because the star of the show is really the buttons, I feel like it would be like sort of undermining the finished piece if they didn't have the stitching. Now that's just my opinion, and obviously if you prefer to glue your buttons on and not have the hassle of stitching them, then hey, that's totally fine too. I'm not in any way saying this is how you have to do them, but I think personally, because the buttons are actually the main elements, I like to have the look of the buttons. Now, what you could do is just to get across there so you don't have that like giant gap between your stitches, is you can just kind of like stitch across like that. Just so you don't have, you know, where then if you pulled your needle too tight, it would then just kind of pull the whole material into a folded kind of weird thing. But again, that's up to you. And obviously once they're glued down onto a page or onto a, you know, piece or whatever, that's not going to really be a problem anyway. So like that. So I mean, they don't really take 5 minutes to stitch, to be honest. I mean, probably the longest thing is actually threading your needle. So, you know, I don't think they're kind of too much of a hassle to actually stitch them anyway. I'm going to just try and be brave and just do a couple of stitches here rather than knot off my thread. Again, I'm not great with, you know, with a needle and thread. So, you know, this might not be the correct way to finish off a stitched piece, and I'm not in any way trying to say that it is. I'm just kind of like going with what works for me. So that's literally it. And then just cut your thread off. I mean, how yummy does that look? And literally it was the teeniest little bits of fabric, it was the tiniest bit of lace, and obviously just a couple of buttons. So I don't know how long that took, I wasn't timing, but you know, a couple of minutes. So really, really cute, aren't they? So we'll do one more. Obviously there's not really much to show. I'm so sorry, I had to just stop because I suddenly then had you know, a choking fit. So yeah, I'm absolutely fine, but I hope that doesn't keep happening, because that would be like really annoying while I'm trying to film the video. Right, so we'll just do one more, and this time I'll just take this fabric down slightly because it's probably a bit big now, like that. And then let's put a different colour lace on. In fact, I've got this gorgeous peachy colour. So yeah, and I do have the scrap packs available on my website at the moment. So if you you know, thought that they looked quite fun and nice, then do feel free to go over and have a look. So yeah, maybe like that. Although I'm not convinced with that button. Oh, and this is probably the other most time consuming part and hardest part, is actually choosing the pieces that you're going, you know, the buttons that you're going to use. Aside from that, I think they're quite fast to make. So we'll just again get this one, and oops. And obviously if you've got the buttons with just 2 holes rather than 4, they're obviously going to be speeding up the, you know, the sewing process too. Like that. But aren't they a great scrap buster? You know, if you've got some scrap fabrics or anything, you know, if you've got a bunch of buttons, which, oh gosh, I don't know about you guys, but I am so terrible. I just buy buttons all the time. I have to say, I've been quite good lately. I haven't bought any buttons for, I mean, actually I say lately, a really long time. So yeah, I'm obviously doing better at not buying them. But I don't know why I, you know, just feel so drawn to buy buttons in the first place, to be honest, because then I really don't use them particularly often. Just deciding which button to have. I think maybe this one actually. I really don't use them very often, so I don't know why I'm even drawn to buy them in the first place, but I do really really love buttons. I think they're just really cute, and you know, when you see them and they're all colourful, and oh, I just then find them really hard to resist. I mean, what on earth is that about? Yeah, so if you're like me and you've got like a whole bunch of buttons that you know, have bought and hoarded, not really used, this might be kind of quite a good time to actually get them out and use some of them. So I mean, obviously I wouldn't use the shank buttons for these, you know, the buttons with the little shanks, because of course then they're not going to lay down flat. But if you use just normal regular buttons, you know, the flat type, then these are a pretty good embellishment. So if I just stitch this off again at the back, and then what I'll do, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm having a really clumsy day, probably not the ideal most ideal day for sewing, but obviously this was what was this was what was on the agenda for today's mass making. But yeah, oh, really fingers and thumbs. I don't know what I was going to say then. Anyway, I will show you this on the side. There we go. I mean, completely flat, isn't it? So not going to bulk your pages out or anything, you know, definitely, you know, these are easy to use inside journals, not just like on a cover or anything like that. So really quick, really easy, brilliant TV project. Yeah, and I just really love using them. So we're going to just relax now, have a lovely time, do a big bulk make of these, and yeah, just relax, basically have a productive hour and have a lovely catch up. So yep, I'd really love it if you craft along with me, and we'll just have like a good sort of 50 minutes you know, crafting and catching up. And yeah, hopefully you're going to have a ton of these at the end and feel really productive and really pleased with what you've made. So put my needle and thread there. So I'm going to do this assembly line style. I know I do say this quite often, you know, when we're doing these, but they're basically, assembly line is just kind of like doing all the same stages at the same time. So I'm just going to kind of like cut my pieces. Oops, cut my pieces like that, and then layer them, then pick the buttons and then stitch. So I might have to do it in a couple of shifts, only because I will run out of space on my desk. But yeah, on the whole, I'm going to just try and do them like this. In fact, I'm going to move these fabrics onto my lap, and that way I've got a lot more room to play with, haven't I? So let's move those there, put these up here. Oh, I'm going to be try and be really organized and actually line them up, and yeah, rather than just have them in some big mishmash of mess, because of course then I do run out of space. So if I actually be a bit more organized and lined them up, then hopefully, you know, I'll actually be able to get quite a few done. So let's just put them like that. Okay, okie dokie, like that. I'll keep that brown one there. Right, so I've used all of that Hessian already. Where's the other fabric that I bought along? Oh, yep, over here. So also got this just ivory. Again, it's just kind of an upholstery fabric, but just brilliant for this type of thing. You know, ideal for the bases because it's going to be, you know, a neutral type fabric. Like I say, my favourite to use really for these is really the Hessian, but yeah. So I must stop talking you through now what we're doing. Already I'd said, oh, we're going to have a catch up and have a relax, and then I start waffling on about what I'm doing. Sometimes find it hard to stop talking about it. But yeah, I won't talk you through unless I'm kind of doing something different, or, you know, perhaps if I put something on that I think just is a really yummy combination and can't resist talking about it, and then obviously we'll just kind of chat about it then. But yeah, on the whole, let's just kind of relax now. So I hope everybody's week has started out well. If you watch my channel, you'll know I film these on the Monday to go out for you guys on the Tuesday. So yeah, my week's only just started, and yeah, it's a weird day actually, I have to say. It was not very nice, then it kind of improved. I would say it's deteriorated slightly more now. So yeah, hard to say what actually is going to sort of, you know, transpire later. But at the moment it's one of those calm days. So, you know, often sort of think the calm before the storm. It's just like not much traffic, there's not much wind, there's not much of anything. So yeah, who knows whether it's going to stay like that or whether it will deteriorate. But yeah, this morning, was it raining this morning? Oh no, it might not have been raining this morning. It was raining over the weekend. No, that's not true either. Sorry. It was raining yesterday. It wasn't raining the whole weekend. So Saturday was actually surprisingly quite nice. And mild and everything. So yeah, it was kind of quite nice. And then yesterday, not so good. It was quite rainy, quite miserable. Yeah, quite a rubbish day, to be honest. So yeah. But today, you know, it's, yeah, hard to say what's actually going on with the weather. It doesn't seem to be kind of deciding what to do. What have I been up to? Right, well, first thing, just want to say a massive thank you to one of my lovely subscribers. She had recommended in the comments the series Monsters, because last week I'd watched the Menendez, I hope that's how you pronounce them, Menendez brothers documentary. And I'm sure that I had tried to watch the series, but I don't know whether that was last week or whether it's since last week. But I had tried to watch it when, you know, kind of like I was on my laptop, not really concentrating. So I didn't really kind of give it much of a chance, if I'm truthful, because obviously, you know, I missed most of what was going on. And it was just one of those where, you know, I would just glance up every now and then and be like, oh, now I've missed what's going on. No clue what's going on. So yeah, kind of gave it another chance because one of the lovely comments, the lady said, and I'm so sorry, I do apologise, I can't remember your name. You know, can't remember your name, I can't remember who the comment was from, but I know that I did go back. Once I started watching it, I went back to comment to say, oh, thank you for the recommendation. I've just watched the first episode. So yes, I've been watching that. Well, I say been watching it. I've binge watched that and I've already finished it. So I started it, I think it was Friday night, and already I finished it by Saturday night. So yeah, I wasn't really doing anything on Friday night, so I just literally stayed in. I had my craft things all over my bed, like just everywhere. And, oh, really bad. Ate a tub of ice cream for my dinner. Terrible behaviour. Yeah, ate a tub of ice cream for dinner and just literally was crafting. Like, I was having a whale of a time. But yeah, binge watched. I think I watched 5 episodes. I mean, obviously, yeah. I ended up staying up quite late. I mean, I'm a bit of a, you know, 10 o'clock kind of person to go to bed. I'm sure I didn't go to bed till like 11:30. I was so enjoying it. It was really good. Like the first episode, now, when I watched it, you know, the first time around, and I say I wasn't really concentrating, it just really looked like they'd really glamorized it, and you know, it was kind of like almost in bit bad taste, and I thought, oh, you know, I don't really want to watch this. When I went back to it and watched it again, giving it, you know, full attention this time, to be fair, they hadn't really. It was just that very first initial episode which looked like they had, but actually once I gave it a chance, it wasn't really kind of like that. So yeah, anyway, I binge watched the first 5 episodes on the Friday night, and then I finished watching it on the, was it the Saturday night or I think it was Saturday night, yeah. I think I watched some more on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday daytime, I watched a bit more in the morning, and then watched the rest on Saturday night. Yeah. Trying to think now which way I did it. But anyway, oh my goodness, I so enjoyed it. It was probably the best thing that I've watched on YouTube for ages. I'm going to actually reverse this just for a bit more kind of different look. So I don't think I've really ever used the Hessian before, like as the second layer. But yeah, let's do that, because that velvet is obviously quite a nice solid piece to have as a base layer. So I think that works quite well to do that. Yeah, so I really did enjoy it. I did enjoy the documentary. You know, the documentary was also quite good. But yeah, the series was very, very good. Like, I mean, I don't know really what to say about it. I don't want to obviously spoil it too much for people if you've not seen it. But also, the lady who recommended it, she said apparently it's all over the news at the moment in the States. So obviously, you know, I don't want to come across really uninformed, because obviously I only have what went on in the series to go by. So I'm probably not really qualified to express any kind of opinion or anything like that. I can literally only kind of relay, you know, what, like I say, was on the actual series. So, I mean, obviously it was the story of the 2 brothers, and they killed their parents. And yeah, I don't know what to think, to be honest. I mean, obviously, I watched the whole series kind of with my mouth practically open, like in horror, at the awful kind of life that they had, you know, possibly gone through at the hands of their parents, who were just, you know, not great parents at all. Well, pretty horrendous parents, to be honest. I mean, the dad, horrendous. Then, so it had started by not showing that, and then it went into that for most of the episodes, and then the last, say, like 15 minutes, it just showed a kind of different side of it again. And, you know, kind of like, because by that point I was completely like, oh gosh, yes, you know, they deserve to have their conviction now, because they've been inside, you know, in prison for something like 35 years. I mean, they've served a long time. So yeah, I was kind of then like, oh, you know, gosh, they really deserve to come out. And then it just showed like another sort of perspective, or, you know, back to the original perspective again for the last like 5 minutes of the show. And then you're kind of like you know, doing a bit of a not flip. I'm not, not an athlete. No, not a backflip, but a back pedal, as to like, oh, you know, maybe that wasn't quite as straightforward as that. So yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I'm going to just put, I think, another layer on there. So, I mean, you can layer these up as many as you like. You know, I've stuck with like 3 layers for most of these. But you don't have to. You know, if you want to do kind of like more layers, you can definitely do that. So, maybe even for that one, we'll do like that. Oh, perhaps we'll just leave it like that. But, yeah. So, I mean, let me know in your sort of comments below. What's your take on it? Do you know a bit more about it? Are you living in the States, you know, and seeing it on the news? Like, you know, maybe you could remember it from when it, you know, first happened. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, it's lucky I'm not on a jury, because I would be very easily swayed. You know, like I was very easily swayed, you know, like in the opening scenes when it looked like, you know, they'd glamorized the shooting, and, you know, it just looked awful. I already had kind of like judged the boys and thought, oh gosh, you know, what a terrible you know, terrible thing to happen. Weren't they terrible? And then I swung straight to the opposite direction as soon as I kind of heard, obviously, the terrible you know, stories of abuse and things, you know. So then I was kind of like, oh no, you know, they went through an awful time. So yeah, I'm not sure that I'm, you know, I think I'm a bit easily convinced, if I'm truthful. So then again, you know, I spent the whole program like kind of thinking, oh my goodness, what terrible abuse that they went through. And then, like I say, it just for the last couple of minutes of the program, or the last, you know, 10 minutes or so of the program, it just then kind of flicked back again, sort of sowing seeds of doubt again in your mind, you know. And so then straight away I was back to, oh, maybe they, you know, maybe they were not making it up, but, well, I guess making it up. I don't know. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to in any way be dismissive of, you know, the subject matter or anything like that. I really, yeah, don't feel qualified to judge. But like I say, unfortunately, I must be very easily persuaded, because, you know, during the course of the program, kind of like veered, you know, back and forth kind of several times. And I thought, oh gosh, let's hope I'm never having to do jury service, because I'm clearly too easy to be persuaded. You know, it doesn't take a great deal for me to be like, oh yeah, let them off. Oh no, you know, they're guilty. So yeah, not great. But yeah, let me know, what do you think? Have you been watching it? What did you think to it? First of all, I really enjoyed it, you know, although it was incredibly, you know, awful. The stuff that, you know, that they kind of alluded to, that what they didn't allude to, they basically said that they were subjected to, I mean, was absolutely horrendous. You know, but it was very interesting, very good program. So yeah, let me know, what do you think? Have you watched it? If you haven't watched it, I mean, only if that kind of thing is up your street, because like I say, I wouldn't say it's a very pleasant watch, you know. It was quite difficult to watch at times. But yeah, if that's up your street, then I would really recommend it. It was very good. So yeah, let me know what you think to it, whether you enjoyed it, you know, if you're in America, you know, have you been hearing kind of the not the fallout, but, you know, like the appeal kind of argument, or, but, you know, yeah, I don't know what the legal kind of jargon would be, but, you know, what's your thoughts? Like, I don't know. What's the general thoughts amongst, you know, the country? Is it like a big story? You know, I know it's obviously in the news a lot, but I mean, are people kind of thinking it's terrible that they've kind of served their time and now they should be, you know, released? I don't know. Yeah, let me know, because I'm on the fence. And, you know, I wasn't, like I said, spent the whole program actually like, oh my goodness, you know, definitely this is horrendous, you know, they should be released now. And then it was just those last couple of minutes that I just then thought, oh, maybe I've, you know, jumped to conclusions. Maybe it's kind of more, you know, more to it than I had kind of like thought. So now you can do them with just one button. You probably see I've put one button on some of these. That looks quite pretty. Oh, I need some more lace on there. Yeah, anyway, so that's what I watched over the weekend. So I really, really, really enjoyed it. I might even go back and rewatch the documentary now, because you know, as usual, I was kind of doing other things, not really paying proper attention to the documentary. And so maybe I will kind of like glean a bit more from the documentary. I don't know. Yeah, let me know, what did you think? So yes, that's been, you know, like the highlight of what I've watched over the last few days, that I really, really, really enjoyed. You know, which is a terrible thing to say, isn't it? To say that I really enjoyed it, but it was really well done. And, you know, sometimes I don't think the Netflix things are, you know, are brilliantly done. You know, I think it's more about the volume of getting lots of things out, and they're not necessarily, you know, the best quality. But yeah, that I would say was very, very good. So yeah, that's what I've watched. And then what else did I watch? So I must have been having like a, you know, a massive watching phase, because I feel like I've watched loads of things. So another thing that I watched was, oh, what was it called? Tell Me Who I Am. So another Netflix thing this was, and it was about twins. And this, must have been recommended because of the nature of the Monsters program, because it kind of had a similar theme to it. Again, you know, yeah, kind of like a not very nice storyline really, but very, very interesting. So it was twins who one had like lost his memory basically, and again, I wasn't watching it properly, so I couldn't tell you how he'd lost it, because I obviously missed that bit. So yeah, who knows whether it was an accident or, you know, I'm not quite sure. But he'd lost his memory, and then when he kind of came around, he was a twin, and so his twin was kind of like filling him in on stuff. And then it very quickly transpires really that possibly you're not getting the whole picture. There may have been more stuff going on than you first think. So again, it then, you know, actually goes down a, you know, really horrendous kind of storyline. So yeah, but I would really recommend it. It was, you know, it was very watchable, very difficult watch, again, just like the Monsters, you know, program, in that, you know, the subject matter was pretty, you know, pretty horrific really. But yeah, it was really good. Oh, another thing that I've watched, gosh, I must have spent the whole week just watching things. So I've been really working a lot this week, like crafting on my bed, like non-stop, in the evenings. And yeah, I've obviously like racked up tons of hours of Netflix stuff. So the other thing that I watched was, oh gosh, something like Bobby Catfish thing or something. I can't remember the exact title, but if you just typed in Bobby on your search thing, that would come up. So that again was, it was a different subject matter, thankfully, to the other two, you know, things that I've mentioned. But a very shocking story of a lady who was kind of catfished, you know, that expression. Now, I didn't know what catfishing was until, you know, a couple of years ago. But it's when kind of people have portrayed themselves, and I'm not meaning to be really patronising, and I apologise if you know fully what catfishing is. I hadn't. Let me just pause this and get the door. Hold on. I'm so sorry. That was just the postman with my ink. So, yeah, I'm only explaining what catfishing is because I didn't know what that was up until, you know, a couple of years ago when then, you know, my son's explained what it was. So, yeah, basically kind of when people like, you know, missell themselves. I mean, I guess like on dating sites. So, yeah. So this particular series, it was this guy who, well, this woman, sorry, who'd met this guy on, you know, a dating app. And she obviously, you know, she thought he was one thing. And then again, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but yeah, let's just say it turned out not to be what she was hoping for at all. And the most tragic thing was, it had kind of like dragged on and on. So I think it was 8 years. So she hadn't met him for the whole of the 8 years, which, you know, that's a long time, isn't it? To, you know, have wasted and waited for somebody, really. So, yeah, it was a bit of a shocking kind of story. But anyway, I mean, you couldn't help but just think, oh, my goodness, you know, what a horrendous thing to happen to the poor lady. But, yeah. So I watched that, and that one actually a few people that I know have also watched it. So obviously that must be like in the top 10 list at the moment, you know, on Netflix here in the UK. I don't know whether we get the same things in our top 10 as you guys, you know, elsewhere in the world. So if you've got Netflix and you don't live in the UK, you know, wherever you are, what stuff are you getting? Like the stuff that I'm mentioning, is that in your top 10 currently as well? Or are we getting different things, would you say? Just, I'm always intrigued to know, you know, are we getting the same things? Or like, you know, am I talking about things that maybe you guys watched, you know, 6 months ago? Maybe they were in your top 10 6 months ago. I mean, I just always assume that they're probably similar things at the same time, but I don't know whether they are. So, yeah, let us know, you know, so that we all know whether we're on the same page or not, you know, with our viewing suggestions and stuff. So, right. I've only brought along a selection of buttons. So these aren't obviously the extent of my buttons, but I just grabbed like a couple of handfuls because I thought rather than, you know, be too inundated with choice, I would just bring a couple of, you know, handfuls and then go from there. And now I'm thinking, oh, I haven't got quite the right selection, because some of these I'm like, oh, they're not quite right. So annoying, very annoying. Wish I bought more. Oh, that one's lovely on there, isn't it? Yeah, anyway, so that was another thing that I've watched. And then I have watched something else. What was the other thing? Oh, that was it. So yes, yesterday was when I watched the, what was it, the twins thing. So yeah, I had been out, met my friend kind of out. We just had not a pub lunch really. I didn't really have lunch, but I just had some snack type things. They had lunch, but yeah, I just had like some like vegetarian chicken nugget things. And then, so I was just gone for like a couple of hours really. And then when I got back, yep, you guessed it, I put all my craft things all over my bed again and just had another Netflix kind of, you know, marathon. So that was when I watched the twins documentary. And then I also watched, but unfortunately I then ended up sort of falling asleep through it. So I've got the other half of it left to watch. It was a film called Woman of the Hour. Now, it's got that actress called Anna Kendrick. She was the one who, she's been in loads of things, but the thing that sticks in my head mostly was probably Pitch Perfect. You know, the kind of kids type film, Pitch Perfect. Well, like teenage film. she was in that. She's a good actress. She's very, very watchable. So she's in that. Now, this is also based on a true story. And it must have been... we used to have a program here. Oops, a program here called Blind Date. And it was always on. It was on a Saturday night. Always Saturday night. And I mean, I remember it because... And I might have even mentioned it, I feel like now. So I apologise if I have. But yeah, I always remember it because at the time I was like, you know, a sort of young adult. And yeah, like probably 18 or whatever. And would always be watching it on a Saturday night, getting ready to go out with, you know, with my friends and things. To go out, you know, to maybe a nightclub and things like that. So I have really fond memories of Blind Date, you know, can just picture the music, can picture the program, you know, and every person of my kind of age, I think their Saturday nights were probably spent similarly because, you know, anyone who kind of, I know who's my age, you know, sometimes we'll reminisce and laugh about, you know, oh, I can remember getting ready on a Saturday night with Blind Date on in the background, you know. So this film, Woman of the Hour, it's the same show, but the American version, I think. Now, I can't remember what they said the show was called, but it wasn't called Blind Date. So, yeah, but basically it's based on a true story, based on a true story. And the guy who she picks, who, now, obviously this is where I fell asleep, but I assume she's going to go on a date with, he's a serial killer. So a serial killer on like Blind Date, basically. Yeah. So I think it said it was 1977. So yeah, like long time ago. And to be fair, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I was born in 75 and I'm not sure that we had Blind Date until a bit later over here. But I'm sure it did say 77. So yeah, anyway. So that film I'm really enjoying, and yeah, I know you wouldn't think so, the fact I fell asleep, but you know, by that point I'd kind of like cleared up my crafting, took my makeup off, and then was like, oh no, I'm falling asleep. So yeah, but it was quite good so far, so I shall watch the rest of that this evening. So yeah, that's my viewing that I've done lately. I mean, I go through phases where obviously sometimes I watch, like, you know, seem to watch nothing in the course of a week. This week, oh my goodness, what haven't I watched, to be honest? I've seemed to have watched endless amounts of things. So yeah, it's been a good week of watching. So yes, I've been enjoying myself. Haven't been to the cinema at all. There's not really anything on. There's just, you know, what I would call kind of blokey films. Thank you so much for everyone's recommendations. Gladiator. So, yep, definitely going to give that a try. Obviously, it's a long film, so I need to give it, you know, a chance when I've got like 3 hours to watch it. I mean, yep, I know I could have probably watched it during all the hours and hours that I've spent watching other stuff on Netflix this week. But I guess it's got to be, you know, when you're in the mood to watch a kind of really epic movie. You know, definitely not one probably for while I'm crafting, just glancing up every now and then. So, yeah, but thank you so much, because lots of you did say what a brilliant movie it was, and that you'd recommend it. Lots of people did say, obviously, it's quite gory. I mean, I don't really mind gory films, providing that the gore is there in context of the film, if you see what I mean. Sometimes, oh gosh, look at my awful sewing. What is going on with me today? Sometimes I feel like they just throw violence or gore into a film just for, you know, the sake of it. I don't really like that, to be honest. But if it's kind of, as, you know, it's in context with the story, you know, I don't mind it. You know, it's okay. It's just when sometimes I think they just think to be like controversial, or they think this is going to make the film popular, that they just chuck in lots of bloodthirsty, unnecessary violence. And it's kind of like, well, why was that even necessary to have that in that film? So yeah, anyway, I shall be giving this a go. Definitely. So thank you so much to everybody who's recommended it. Yeah, so no cinema this week. Did we do anything else? No, probably not, if I'm truthful. It's been boring, very boring. So Saturday, Saturday, oh, my daughter went to her dad's this weekend. She hadn't been there for a while, and yeah, she went there this weekend. She'd gone on Wednesday, and yeah, she decided to go there for the weekend. So yeah, so she was gone, and so on Saturday, like I said, I just kind of did lots of crafting like for the morning, and then my middle son and I, we walked into town with Bo, so we can walk into our town centre. You know, we're really lucky and can walk into the town centre in about 10-15 minutes. So we took Bo with us just because I needed to pick something up from a shop. I just needed to pick up some makeup products that I'd ordered, you know, that I'd run out of. So I'd ordered them already, but just needed to go in and collect them. So I said, well, why don't we walk, and then we can go with Bo, and then we can have a coffee as well. And do you know, it was so hot and so lovely that we actually sat outside. Oh, what's going on there? We actually sat outside to have our coffee. So it was absolutely gorgeous. And in fact, we've both worn like jeans and jumpers and a coat. And you know, it was so hot, we walked back without our coats on. It was really, really, really nice. I mean, I don't know what the temperature was, but I don't know, 17 maybe, 18, I don't know. It was really nice though, really lovely. So yeah, that was really, really nice way to spend the day. And then yeah, like I say, yesterday just I'd gone for a coffee with my son, and then went, like, you know, for a sort of pub snack, I guess, in the afternoon with my friend, and that was kind of it really. So yeah, not the most exciting weekend, but hey, quite pleasant. It was, yeah, quite nice. Had a nice time. Oh gosh, my son. So I feel like I'm forever talking about cars, like honestly. So he's 18, and he changed his car about 6 months ago. I mean, I can't believe it was 6 months ago because it feels very recent in my mind, you know, of the whole keep pinging me cars, you know, on text messages all day long, you know, what do you think to this one, what do you think to this one, what do you think to this one, and then dragging us off like to go and get it. It feels really recent, but he swears that was 6 months ago. So, and I mean, obviously he must know. Now, unfortunately, he's been paying an absolute fortune for his car insurance. You know, I think they're just trying to stop young people being on the roads, full stop, to be honest. So unfortunately, I mean, it's literally like half his wages. I mean, he works full time, but yeah, like literally, I mean, yeah, nearly half, about 40% of his wages every month goes on his car insurance, which of course he pays for monthly because it's so much. There's no way that he could pay, you know, for it up front, like for a year. You know, I mean, it's literally, you know, a few £1,000s. So yeah, it's like crazy, 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 crazy money. So of course, you know, he's right. I'm going to knock my thread down there because I seem to have something caught in that thread now. So yeah, of course, it's been keeping him really hard up. Now he's coming up to where he will have his first year of no claims. So he can't wait, obviously, to, you know, hopefully get some cheaper insurance. So, of course, now he's now got it into his head that, you know, oh, well, I'm going to change my car for something cheaper to insure. So, you know, I mean, of course, you know, he does love cars. So he still wants something that he thinks is very nice, you know, nice car to look at, you know, and I don't blame him, to be honest. You know, I love cars as well. And, you know, yeah, I mean, if you're working, why shouldn't you have something nice, you know, and feel pleased and excited every time you go out and you see it. So, yeah, so he's looked around and he's managed to find a particular car, you know, that he thinks would be okay. And it's way, way, way cheaper insurance than his car, you know, his car was. So, yeah, so he'd said to me, you know, for a few weeks now, he's been saying, oh, you know, I'm thinking I might sell my car. And then what I could do is with the money I get from my car, I could pay for my, you know, next year's insurance, which he's got like literally a couple of weeks left until it will be next year's insurance, if you see what I mean. So he said, oh, you know, if I sell my car, I can pay for the insurance up front out of the money that I get for my car. And then I wouldn't be paying the monthly, you know, monthly insurance. And what I can do is get a loan and get, you know, one of these other cars, which has got like really cheap car tax and things. It's very cheap on fuel to run. So, you know, I mean, on paper, it all really sounds like quite a sensible thing. Except obviously he would have then a bank loan or, you know, some sort of finance or whatever for the car, which, you know, isn't great. But do you know, the finance, like to get the car, would still be way less than he has been paying for his car insurance. You know, so I can't say as I blame him, to be honest. You know, he probably does think, well, gosh, I've been used to paying that much. You know, the monthly payment for the finance is way less than what I have been paying for just, you know, just insurance. And, you know, he's going to end up with a way nicer car. So anyway, you know, obviously you can't tell young people, can you? So, you know, I kept saying, well, you know, I mean, I don't think you should really kind of spend that much on a car. Why do you want to do that? You know, you're only like 18. But, you know, yeah, I mean, he's quite miserable at his job. He doesn't like his job, you know, and I don't think they kind of treat him very well where he works and things. So, you know, kind of like, I don't really blame him wanting to sort of, you know, cheer himself up, really. So, yeah, I can see why he wants to do it. Of course, he's very miserable most of the time because he's got no money, because he's paying obviously this huge monthly premium for his car insurance. So, you know, he feels he's constantly hard up. Not only is he working, but he's constantly hard up. So, yeah, I mean, I can see why he wants to do this. And obviously, you know, the monthly premium for like the finance is still like literally less than half of what he pays for his car insurance currently. So I guess to him, it feels like a no-brainer, really. Anyway, couldn't dissuade him. So, of course, you know, Saturday evening, he says to me, you know, oh, that's it. I'm going to list my car, you know. So I thought, oh, here we go. Anyway, I thought, well, nothing really sells normally. It will take forever to sell. Would you actually believe Sunday morning, I'm getting ready and his friend was round. So, you know, oh no, his friend wasn't round at that point. His friend was coming round. Anyway, I'm getting ready and I suddenly could hear him on the phone and I thought, oh my goodness, he's got a phone call about his car already. I couldn't believe it. So I'm listening to him on the phone and I suddenly heard him then say, oh, I can't do today, I'm afraid. And I thought, oh, that's a big mistake, isn't it? Because, you know, kind of like if people are looking for a car, you know, they want to get it really there and then, don't they? So, you know, so I quickly text him whilst he was still on the phone. You know, I was upstairs, obviously. And I just sent a text just saying, if that's, you know, someone wanting to come and look at your car today, I'd let them come if I was you. So he obviously then said to them, oh, actually, I can do today. So would you believe, within half an hour later, they had arrived, they looked at his car, and then they bought it. Oh, my goodness. So within like about 12 hours, he'd gone from like listing his car, you know, to then it's gone. You know, he sold it. It's gone. They've already taken it. So like, wow. So anyway, his friend obviously had arrived by this point, and I laughed at his friend and just said, oh my goodness, this is where it will all start now, the nonsense of, you know, every single day he'll be like coming home from work, oh mum, what do you think to this car? 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 I said, actually, scrap that. It won't even be when he gets home from work. It will be through the day. My phone will be pinging with text messages saying, what do you think to this one? What do you think to this one? What do you think to this one? So, yeah, I mean, I just can't believe it. And he then felt really weird all day because obviously he hadn't expected it to sell so quick, I think. And so although he was chuffed, you know, and, you know, like we said, well, it was obviously, that was a sign, wasn't it? It was meant to be. The fact that it went so quick, you know, that was like, wow, that was obviously what was meant to happen. But then he was like, oh no, mum, I've got no car now, you know. How am I going to get to work? I said, well, you're going to have to be back to the train like you were before, you know. So, yeah, he's kind of now like, oh, my goodness, what have I done? Anyway, he phoned me literally just before I started filming. He's already found a car and, oh, my goodness, it's miles and miles away. So it's the other side of London. So, I mean, probably miles-wise, like, you know, as the fly crows, it's probably like, I don't know, 80 miles away. But we're going to have to go round like the M25, which is a notoriously very you know, crazy busy road that you don't really want to go driving on if you don't have to get there. So, yep, he's already phoned me and said, oh, Mum, what are you doing on Wednesday? Can we go and have a look at that car? So, oh, my goodness. So that will take the whole day, basically, because, you know, like I say, it's a very trafficky route, not the most straightforward journey at all. So, yeah, that will be the whole of my Wednesday, basically. So, but hey, let's hope he gets it. And then, you know, he won't be a nuisance anymore. That being said, I did say to him, you know, the other thing is, are you sure you want to spend so much money on a car? Because, you know, you don't appear to keep your cars very long. You know, kind of like this last one, you kept it for 6 months. And I said, you know, the more you spend on a car, the more it will depreciate. So, oh, I don't know. Anyway, like I said, you can't talk youngsters out of things, can you? Because they make up their mind and that's that. You know, that's what they're doing. So, yeah, that's what he's doing, and that's what we're now doing on Wednesday. So, oh gosh, I hope it's going to be good. I hope he's going to like it. Because, I mean, when you're going miles and miles and miles to get a car and it's going to take you like the whole day to get there and back, you know, you want to then really hope that you're going to actually like the car and want to buy it. Oops. And not just then feel like, oh gosh, I've got no choice but to buy it because it's like taking up our whole day getting here. So, yeah. I mean, some of these places, they deliver cars now, don't they? I know a friend of mine bought a car and they just, you know, for like, I don't know, £150, whatever. I mean, they obviously charge per mile or something, but it was like a long way. You know, it would have been a long way for him to be able to go and get it. And, yeah, he was able to have it delivered, which was brilliant, you know. And I mean, luckily the car was fine. I mean, I guess not so brilliant if then when the car arrives, it's not as they'd advertised. But yeah, I did say to my son, oh, did they not deliver it? You know, but he said no. So anyway, he's all very excited for that. But oh gosh, you know, I just think, oh. Kids, they always are on to the next thing, aren't they? I mean, don't get me wrong, we probably all are, but yeah. Just think you can't then kind of like dissuade them at all or anything, can you? It's like, oh no, now he's wanting to do that. So yeah, anyway, fingers crossed that it's going to be good and he's going to like it, and then fingers crossed that he's going to just keep it and not then want to buy something else 6 months down the line, you know. So yeah. Okay. I haven't looked to see if there's anything on at the cinema this week, actually. I mean, generally, we normally go on a Wednesday. And of course, you know, we might not even be back in time to watch anything anyway on the Wednesday. So, yeah. More Netflix for me, it will be. So, oops. Oh, it's such a shame. My lovely friends, so my lovely friend who was the friend who introduced me to crafting in the first place, and her and her husband, they had been like friends, you know, joint friends with me and my husband, ex-husband, so very long-standing friends, kind of known them for like, you know, 30 years or something. And yeah, I mean, they're more like family. Anyway, they were supposed to be coming out the weekend, so I was really, really looking forward to the weekend. And then due to like a sort of death really in the family, and I know that's a strange way to put it, but I'm meaning the death had happened a few weeks ago, but then, you know, they were just having to clear out the house and things like that. Unfortunately, they couldn't come this weekend. So, yeah, unfortunately had to cancel. So that was a bit of a shame because I'd been really looking forward to seeing them. And we had such a nice time. I had been up to see them earlier on this year for the first time since kind of my husband and I had split up. And I can remember talking about it, you know, when I came back on my channel and saying what a lovely weekend I'd had. And it felt like such a big thing, you know, for me to kind of go on my own. And yeah, I mean, I don't know why it was such a big thing, but I guess just it just was really. So yeah, but I'd had such a lovely time. So yeah, I was really looking forward to them coming. But hopefully they're going to come in November. So, yep, fingers crossed. I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? Because they've got 2 children who are 16 now, but you know, kind of like things just come up, don't they, when you've got kids and things, or like, you know, you all end up ill, or, you know, and at this time of year, there's lots of stuff going about, isn't there? Well, both germs and things to do, you know. So yeah, just fingers crossed that they will come, because it would be so nice to see them. So yeah, I was, you know, gutted at the weekend really, but yeah, I mean, obviously they let me know kind of during the week. They didn't just let me know like on Friday, but yeah, that was a bit of a shame. Okay. I've no idea how long I've been filming for now, because obviously I had to stop the camera for the postman, and I'd stopped it when I was choking. So yeah, I don't know how long I've actually been filming for now, but I hope you like these button embellishments. They are very, very fun and cute, aren't they? And like I say, they're just the brilliant thing to do whilst watching TV. So yeah, another little TV project there. I just want to say a massive, massive thank you to everybody who's placed an order on my website and also on my Etsy shop. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And I know I do say this kind of every week, but, you know, I mean, obviously, without you guys, I mean, I wouldn't be able to be doing this, you know, at all, as, you know, as a way of paying my bills. So, yeah, it's kind of really essential kind of, you know, to be running the business side of things rather than just be crafting on video, which obviously is what I would like to be doing. But yeah, so thank you so much to everybody who has placed an order either on my Etsy shop or on my website. I really do appreciate it. I did do a restock on my Etsy on my website shop last week, including a Halloween piled pockets journal, which I am still kind of in the middle of filming the flip through of. I don't know why, but yeah, I think I was filming it the other day, and then Natalie turned up, you know, when she was kind of working with me on Friday, and so I just haven't had time to actually kind of like get back on and film the rest of the flip through. But yeah, thank you so much to everybody who has purchased anything. I did do on my video with the pockets with the formula, the very simple pockets with the formula, and I said about the laminated sheets containing the laminated sheet of the transparent flowers. And I don't know whether I clarified in that video, but yeah, I have done those now, and they are in my shop. So if you wanted to grab one of those, I think I had six sets of those. So yeah, I mean, they're on there at the moment, and yeah, I can't tell you how much I'm loving having them. There's something very lovely about them. They feel absolutely gorgeous, and yeah, just really tactile, really nice. So if you wanted to grab a set of those, then they are on my shop, and I think you get four sheets. So lots of fussy cuts. And the other thing that I put in my shop, which I had lots of requests for over the time, and I finally put it in there, is I've done printed sheets of fussy cuts. So these are not on transparency film or anything. Oops, that's got one of those wires, you know, where it's like been on a card. So it's not on transparency film, but it's on that very thick 250 GSM paper, the presentation, the photo quality paper that, you know, I like to use. So they're beautiful quality sheets. I think you get, just trying to remember, I think you get 10 sheets, but either way you get over 160 fussy cut pieces in those sets. So they are really good fun. And what I've tried to do is really incorporate a whole bunch of very different pieces. So there's a sheet of perfume bottles, there's a sheet of butterflies, there's a sheet of, I think, the flowers, there's a sheet Oh, what other sheets did I include? There's a sheet of my frames. I think there might be a sheet of the lavender toppers. I can't actually remember, but obviously the photos are on my website. So they are really, really, really good fun. And like I say, that's in response to lots of ladies have said, oh, I wish you'd sell your sheets, you know, separately, just printed. So obviously I have the printed paper packs with like background papers. And there are some of those printed paper pads at the moment in my shop. But yeah, I thought, well, why don't I give it a try doing the fussy cut sheets as well? Obviously, I sell the fussy cut die cut pieces, which I've cut myself. But for those people who don't mind fussy cutting, because I know not everybody can get on with fussy cutting, you know, sort of my eyesight's really deteriorating and things. And, you know, so some ladies, maybe their eyesight's not sort of conducive to fussy cutting. Or, you know, arthritis and things is sometimes preventative from doing things like fussy cutting. So I do have the ones, you know, the die cuts that I've fussy cut myself. But if you are, you know, if you're okay with fussy cutting and you enjoy fussy cutting, those fussy cut sheets are, you know, really nice value, and they're really, you know, they're very high quality prints. And yeah, they're like hours of enjoyment for fussy cutting. Only obviously if you do enjoy fussy cutting, of course they would be hours of hell for anybody who didn't like fussy cutting. But yeah, if you do enjoy fussy cutting, they're, you know, they're a really nice thing to purchase, I think. So yes, they are on my website, and like I say, they're in response to obviously lots of people who have said, oh, I wish you'd sell the fussy, you know, the sheets of the fussy cuts. So yes, I thought that would be good to put them on there. I still didn't get my new digitals uploaded last week, so yep, I need to obviously crack on and do that. So yep, hopefully I will do that in the next few days. Yeah, I think that's probably kind of it for the updates. The Pile Pockets journal for the Halloween journal, I do also have it planned to be doing a tutorial for one of those. Again, I haven't got around to that yet, but yep, that's definitely on the agenda. And it's quite different. It's quite a different project, and you would hopefully really, really love it. So yeah, really very fun, you know, different type of project really to do. So that's all quite exciting. Oops, there we go. Right. Oh, look at my awful sewing. I mean, I don't really see things like this happening to other people, but anyway, cut that down. So I don't know how long I've been filming for now. Perhaps I've just got time for one or two more. They're really quite addictive to do these, and they're so kind of therapeutic. They're, you know, they're quite a relaxing one to do. I mean, although I'm not very good at sewing, I quite like it actually. Yeah, I mean, rubbish at it, but yeah, I quite like it. Okay. Okay. Right, which one should I do? Let's do this pink one, just because I'm thinking, oh, you know, if I don't have time to do many more, let's try and do something that's a little bit of a different one. So yeah, we'll do this one. Oh my goodness, look at my sewing. It's awful, isn't it? Absolutely awful. Okay. Oh, it's looking a bit like rain's kind of coming in now. So yeah, it was only a matter of time, wasn't it? You know, the morning, it just seemed so still and calm out there, and I just kept thinking, well, that's weird. Oh, and I just want to send like massive, massive hugs and love to anybody who's in that Florida region. So, I mean, yeah, obviously I don't know how much of the, you know, accurate news that we get, but it was kind of like, well, yeah, my geography is not great either, so I don't like to misquote the areas, but it was kind of like Naples down to like Orlando, I think, where they had that awful, awful, awful storm. So yeah, I mean, we seem to get lots of news about it pre-storm, and then for some reason didn't really seem to hear much about it after the storm. So sending like lots of love to anybody who might be in that region. You know, I really hope that you're all okay, and you know that you didn't suffer too much damage, that nobody got injured or, you know, hurt or anything like that. You know, that you and all your loved ones are kind of safe, because it just looked horrendous. I can't remember now what they called it. You know how they all have the names, don't they, of the storm, you know, whoever. Yeah, but I really hope that you're all kind of like doing okay, because my gosh, it looked very, very scary. I mean, I saw, and again, I'm not sure who this lady was, whether she was kind of like, well, I'm not sure who she was, but yeah, she was advising everyone to obviously leave and evacuate the areas. And I mean, in one clip that I saw her talking, she kind of said, you know, if you don't leave, you know, you will die. Which, I mean, what a terrifying, you know, terrifying message. So, yeah, I mean, like I say, I don't know quite what region that did cover, but I really hope that, you know, you're all okay. Yeah, I mean, some of the extreme weathers, they're, you know, they're very frightening, aren't they? So, I mean, obviously that was a sort of hurricane, wasn't it? But yeah, it just looked very, very frightening. Well, and obviously sounded very frightening. I mean, when she said that, I just thought, wow, that is a terrifying message to be putting out, isn't it? You know. And obviously then, you know, that was then followed by footage of, you know, massive queues of people obviously trying to evacuate the areas. And, you know, I'm not sure where those people were then going to be honest. But, you know, I don't know whether you all had to kind of like evacuate out of the state or, you know, yeah. But, oh gosh, I really hope that you're all doing okay. Like I say, sometimes you just seem to get lots and lots of news all about it beforehand, and then they don't seem to give you then the updates afterwards. And, you know, yeah, I didn't really kind of hear anything after the event. So, right. I'm just going to knock this off, to be honest, because I don't seem to be doing very well at threading this through that fabric. It's kind of like pulling the fabric a bit. Oops. Oh my goodness, come on. Right. Oh my gosh. Not doing a good job of this at all. Not at all, at all, at all. Oh my goodness. There we go. Right. Okay, so I probably call it quits there, and then I'll do the rest, you know, this evening when I'm watching TV. So let's have a look and see how many that we have done. So I've got, oops, a couple there layered up, ready to do later. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 left to do. Okay, and how many did we actually get done already? So 1, whoops. Oh, no. I've got another one there. 11 left to do. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, which is amazing, isn't it? So yeah, loads and loads we've done there. So let me just drag in a couple of journal pages. Now, I'm not saying that these, you know, are in any way kind of the right pages, but just to give you an idea, I'll just drag in a couple of different coloured ones. That's how these look, just literally stuck onto the page. Don't they look scrumptious? I mean, actually, all 3 of those look lovely on there, don't they? So, yeah, absolutely lovely, aren't they? Really, really, really pretty. So, you know, just pop them onto a page like that. You could pop them onto like an envelope. I'm not sure whether I've got an envelope sat here. Oh, have I got any envelopes? No. Oh goodness, why have I not got any of these things to be able to show you? Oh, here we go. Well, that's not an envelope actually, it's one of those wardrobe pockets. But again, I mean, you could have one there on the, you know, on the catch for that. But picture if that was an envelope, you know, you could have one there on the envelope flap and things. So, you know, they're very versatile. You could use them for loads of different things, but they're just so pretty, aren't they? So, and like I say, just a brilliant scrap buster. They're a brilliant, you know, TV project, and yeah, just something quite handy and nifty to have in your stash. So I hope that you like them. I hope you feel inspired to make some. Love to hear your comments in the chat below. I'm so enjoying you know, chatting with you all, and yeah, just have such a lovely time hearing from you all. So please do, you know, leave a chat or leave a comment in the chat, and yep, give the video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks then. Bye.